There is a specific sound a ship makes when she knows she is being hunted. It isn't a siren. It isn't a flashing red light or a computer voice telling you that you are about to die. If you wait for the computer to tell you you're in trouble, you're already dead. No, the sound is deeper than that. It's a vibration in the deck plates. A low shuddering moan that travels through the titanium bones of the hull, vibrating up through your boots and settling right in the base of your spine. Ronin felt it before he heard it. He was sitting on a reinforced crate in the lower engineering bay, polishing the barrel of his sidearm. It was a heavy kinetic pistol, a peacekeeper model that hadn't been manufactured in 2 centuries. It was scarred, the grip tape was peeling and the metal was dull gray. Just like him, he stopped moving his hand. He tilted his head slightly, listening to the groan of the Iron Mule. "Easy, girl," he whispered to the ship. His voice was like grinding stones. "I know they're out there." Across the narrow corridor, sitting huddled beneath a tangle of hydraulic hoses, was the passenger. Her name was Vesper. That was the name she had given him 3 days ago, right after he pulled her out of a slaver pit on the edge of the nebula. She was a Talari, a species known for their grace, their tall, slender frames, and their skin that shimmered like pale blue moonlight. But there was no shimmer today. Her skin was dull, covered in grime and dried coolant fluid. Her long, pointed ears were pressed flat against her skull, a universal sign of absolute terror. She was wrapped in Ronin's spare flight jacket, which swallowed her small frame entirely. She looked at Ronin with eyes that were too big for her face. Violet eyes that had seen things no living being should have to see. "The vibration stopped," Vesper whispered. Her voice was trembling so hard the words barely came out. "Does that mean they are gone?" Ronin didn't look up from his weapon. He racked the slide back. Clack, clack. The sound was loud, mechanical, and reassuring. "No, kid," Ronin said. "It means they've latched on." Vesper let out a small, strangled sob and pulled her knees to her chest. "It is the high Justicars, it has to be. They tracked the isotope signature in my blood. They never stop, Ronin, you do not know them. They burn entire moons just to recover a single stolen asset." "I know them," Ronin said. He stood up slowly. His silver armor creaked. The orange stripe painted across his chest was chipped and faded, barely visible under layers of carbon scoring. He wasn't wearing a helmet. His face was a map of bad decisions and hard victories, a thick scar running from his temple to his jaw, gray stubble that looked like steel wool, and eyes that were cold and flat. "I know 'em fine," he continued, walking over to a pressure gauge and tapping it with a gloved finger. "They're the kind of people who think expensive boots mean they don't have to watch where they step." "We have to run," Vesper pleaded. She tried to stand, but her legs were weak. "Please, Ronin, if we jettison the cargo pod, maybe the explosion will distract them. We can jump to hyperspace. We might make it to the outer rim." Ronin stopped. He turned and looked at her. "Run?" he asked. The word sounded foreign in his mouth. He walked over to where she was sitting. He towered over her, a wall of metal and muscle. But when he spoke, his voice dropped an octave. It wasn't gentle. Ronin didn't do gentle, but it was steady. "Kid, look at this ship. Look at the walls." Vesper looked. She saw rust, she saw patches welded over patches. She saw exposed wires. "She's ugly," Ronin admitted. "She's slow. She smells like 3-day-old coffee and burnt ozone. But she's mine, and on this ship there's only one rule." He leaned in closer. "We don't run. We make them regret chasing us." Suddenly, the ship's intercom crackled to life. A voice cut through the static, smooth, arrogant, and dripping with false politeness. "Unidentified vessel. This is the Council warship Divine Right. You are in possession of stolen Imperial property. Power down your engines and prepare for immediate boarding. Compliance is mandatory. Resistance will result in immediate vaporization." Vesper squeezed her eyes shut. "It's him, High Justicar Kaelen. He is a monster, Ronin. He enjoys pain." Ronin reached up and pressed the intercom button. He didn't rush, he didn't sound panicked. "Council warship," Ronin said. "This is Captain Ronin of the Iron Mule. You're scratching my paint. Unlatch your docking clamps and back off to a safe distance, or I'm filing an insurance claim against your whole fleet." There was a pause on the other end, a long silence. You could almost hear the confusion on the bridge of the massive alien warship. They weren't used to backtalk. They were used to begging. "Captain Ronin," the voice returned, colder this time. "We are not asking, we are boarding. Do not attempt to engage your weapons. We have 3 squads of Royal Vanguards entering your airlock now." The connection cut. Ronin looked at the main airlock door at the far end of the corridor. The wheel began to spin, creak, groan. The metal protested as the high-tech docking tube of the alien ship forced it open. "Get behind me," Ronin said. Vesper scrambled behind a stack of heavy plasteel crates. "Do you have a plan? Do you have a trap?" "Yeah," Ronin said. He pulled a second weapon from the wall rack, a heavy, drum-fed shotgun that looked like it belonged in a museum. He checked the safety. "My plan is to introduce them to the concept of private property." The airlock hissed. Steam vented from the pressure equalization. Then the door slid open. The contrast was blinding. The interior of the Iron Mule was dark, gritty, and industrial. Standing in the airlock were creatures of pure light. 3 royal vanguards stepped through. They were 7 feet tall, encased in gold and white power armor that hummed with energy fields. Their helmets were sleek, faceless ovals of black glass. They held energy pikes, weapons that could slice through a tank hull like butter. Behind them walked Justicar Kaelen. He didn't wear armor. He wore robes of iridescent silk that flowed around him like water. His skin was pale violet like Vesper's, but flawless. He had no scars. He had no dirt under his fingernails. He looked at the interior of Ronin's ship with an expression of profound disgust, as if he had just stepped into a sewer. Kaelen held a handkerchief to his nose. "Disgusting," Kaelen said. His voice was amplified by a small device on his collar. "The smell of primitive combustion and sweat. How do you humans live like this? It is like living in a grave before you are dead." Ronin stood in the middle of the corridor. He held the shotgun loosely in one hand, barrel pointed at the floor. He didn't salute, he didn't bow. "You didn't wipe your feet," Ronin said. Kaelen laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. It was the sound of a man who believes he owns the universe. "A comedian," Kaelen sneered. He stepped fully onto the deck. The 3 massive guards fanned out, their energy pikes leveling at Ronin's chest. The hum of their weapons was a high-pitched whine that hurt the ears. "I am Justicar Kaelen of the Inner Circle," the alien announced. "You are harboring a fugitive. A biological prototype, Subject 89 Alpha, the female Talari. Her name is Vesper," Ronin said. "It does not matter what you call it." Kaelen waved his hand dismissively. "It is property, expensive property. And you, human scavenger, have inconvenienced me. I had to divert my course. I had to delay my dinner. I had to come to this floating garbage can." Kaelen took a step closer. The guards moved with him, a wall of gold death. "Give me the girl," Kaelen said. "And perhaps I will only destroy your ship and leave you floating in a survival pod. Resist and my vanguards will peel that armor off you while you are still alive." This was the moment. The threshold. In every confrontation, there is a moment where the victim is supposed to break. The bully pushes, shows his teeth, shows his weapons, and waits for the fear to set in. Kaelen was waiting for Ronin to drop the gun. He was waiting for the apology. But Ronin just sighed. It was a long, tired sigh. The sigh of a man who just wanted to finish his coffee. "You know," Ronin said, looking at the ceiling pipes. "I had a dog once. Back on Earth, big ugly mutt. But he was loyal." "I do not care about your pets," Kaelen snapped. "Let me finish," Ronin said, his voice hardened. The gravel turned into granite. That dog had a rule. He didn't bite people who walked past the fence. He didn't bite people who knocked on the door. But if you kicked in the gate and walked into his yard. Ronin looked directly at Kaelen. "You tore your throat out." Kaelen's eyes narrowed. "Are you threatening me, human? With that primitive projectile weapon? My guards have kinetic shields. Your bullets will bounce off them like rain." "I know," Ronin said. "Then surrender." "No." Kaelen's patience snapped. "Kill him. Cut him down and find the girl." The 3 royal vanguards lunged forward. Their movements were impossibly fast, enhanced by the servos in their armor. The blue energy blades of their pikes crackled, ready to impale Ronin. But Ronin didn't fire the shotgun. Instead, he reached into his belt and pulled out a small, rusty remote control. It looked like a garage door opener from the 20th century. He pressed the single red button, clang thoom. Behind the aliens, the heavy blast doors of the airlock slammed shut. The explosive bolts fired, sealing the door with a permanence that shook the deck plates. Kaelen spun around. "What? What did you do?" "I locked the front door," Ronin said. "Open it!" Kaelen shouted. "My ship will open fire." "They can't," Ronin said calmly. He stepped back into the shadows of a support pillar. "I just activated the magnetic jamming field. Your comms are dead, your sensors are blind. Your ship doesn't know you're in trouble. They think you're still negotiating." Negotiating? Kaelen laughed nervously. We are 3 royal vanguards and a high Justicar against 1 old man. We do not need the ship to kill you. Ronin retreated further back. His voice echoed from the darkness of the ship's belly. You're right. You have the numbers. You have the tech, you have the shields. Suddenly, the main lights of the engineering deck flickered and died. Total, absolute darkness swallowed the corridor. Not just dimness, blackness. The kind of blackness you only find in the belly of a dead machine in deep space. The only light came from the crackling blue energy of the alien pikes casting long, terrifying shadows against the rusted walls. But you made one mistake, Kaelen. Ronin's voice came from everywhere and nowhere. It was amplified by the ship's speakers now. What mistake? Kaelen screamed, his composure cracking. Guards formation. Protect me. The guards formed a triangle around the Justicar, their helmet lights cutting through the dark, searching. They saw steam, they saw hanging chains, they saw darkness. You brought energy weapons to a steam fight, Ronin whispered. Hiss! A valve directly above the guards blew open. It wasn't an accident. Ronin had rigged the coolant bypass. Superheated steam, white and thick, flooded the corridor instantly. I cannot see, one guard shouted. My thermal sensors are white out. It is too hot. Switch to sonar, Kaelen ordered, coughing. Find him. We can't. The guard panicked. The engine vibration. The whole ship is shaking. Sonar is useless. They were blind. Their millions of credits worth of technology was defeated by hot water and a loose engine mount. Ronin watched them from the catwalk above. He was wearing old-school analog night vision goggles. Green and grainy, he didn't need thermal. He didn't need sonar. He could see them perfectly. 3 glowing blue targets in a cloud of white fog. He raised the drum-fed shotgun. He wasn't aiming to kill, not yet. He wanted to break them first. He aimed at the floor, right at the feet of the lead guard. Boom! The sound of the shotgun in the confined space was deafening. It was like a thunderclap inside a coffin. The slug didn't hit the guard. It hit a hydraulic line next to him. High-pressure oil sprayed out, coating the pristine white armor in black sludge. The guard slipped, his magnetic boots losing traction on the slick oil. He crashed to the deck, his energy pike skittering away into the dark. One down, Ronin's voice echoed. Show yourself, Kaelen shrieked. He pulled a sleek silver energy pistol from his robes and fired blindly into the dark. Sup, sup! Zap, the plasma bolts melted holes in the walls, sparking fires. Careful, Ronin said. You puncture the hull, we all die. I don't mind, do you? Vesper watched from her hiding spot. She had never seen anything like this. She had been taught that the high Justicars were gods, invincible, untouchable. But here in the dark, covered in grease and steam, they didn't look like gods. They looked like frightened children lost in the woods. And the monster in the woods wasn't a beast. It was a man in silver armor with an orange stripe. Ronin racked the shotgun again, clack, clack. Welcome to the Iron Mule, Ronin said. Class is in session. Fear has a smell. It isn't a metaphor. It's a chemical reaction. When a sentient being realizes they are no longer the predator, when the adrenaline turns sour in their gut, they release pheromones. To a human, it smells like copper and ozone. To Ronin, it smelled like victory. Kaelen was backed against a cold bulkhead. His pristine silk robes were stained with grease. His hands, usually so steady when signing death warrants, were trembling uncontrollably. He held his energy pistol with both hands, sweeping it back and forth into the black void. Where are you? Kaelen screamed. His voice cracked high and thin. Show yourself. Fight me like a civilized being. A sound echoed from the darkness to his left. Clanged metal on metal. Kaelen spun and fired. Zap! The plasma bolt hit a pipe, showering sparks. Nothing there, then from the right clang. Kaelen spun again. Stay back. I command you. From the shadows, a voice emerged. It was low, calm, and terrifyingly close. Civilized, Ronin asked. The voice seemed to come from the floor vents. Then from the ceiling. You guys always use that word. Civilized. You think it means wearing white robes and drinking wine in a tower? Clang closer this time. But down here in the mud, civilization is just a word you use to pretend you aren't an animal. Kaelen's breath hitched. My guards. Where are my guards? They're taking a nap, Ronin whispered. A heavy boot stepped into the dim light of Kaelen's pistol. Ronin stood there. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't hiding anymore. He was 10 feet away, holding a heavy rusted pipe wrench in one hand. The shotgun was slung over his back. He didn't need bullets for this. Ronin looked at the last Royal Vanguard. The massive alien soldier was trying to stand up in the slick oil, his optical sensors still blinded by the steam. He was flailing, swinging his energy pike wildly. Ronin walked past him. He didn't even run. He just stepped inside the guard's reach. With a movement that was efficient, brutal, and practiced, Ronin swung the wrench. He didn't aim for the armor. He aimed for the exposed joint at the neck, the soft seal between the helmet and the chest plate. Crack. It wasn't a wet sound. It was the sound of a seal breaking. The guard gasped, the air rushing out of his suit. He collapsed heavily, the gold armor clattering against the deck plates like dropped silverware. Now it was just Ronin and the High Justicar. Kaelen dropped his pistol. He didn't mean to. His fingers just stopped working. The weapon clattered to the floor, useless. Please, Kaelen whimpered. He slid down the wall until he was sitting in the puddle of oil. I can give you planets. I own mining rights in 3 sectors. I can make you a governor. Just let me go. Ronin stopped. He looked down at the alien. In the green glow of his night vision goggles, Ronin looked like a demon from old Earth mythology. He reached down and grabbed Kaelen by the front of his expensive robes. With a grunt of effort, he hauled the alien to his feet. You don't get it, do you? Ronin said, his face inches from Kaelen's. I don't want your money. I don't want your planets. Then what do you want? Ronin dragged him toward the turbo lift. I want you to make a phone call. On the bridge of the Iron Mule, minutes later. The bridge was small, cramped, and smelled of stale coffee. It was the heart of the ship, beating with the rhythm of old, reliable machinery. Ronin shoved Kaelen into the pilot's chair. The High Justicar looked out of place among the analog switches and duct-taped monitors. Through the main viewport, the massive shape of the Council warship Divine Right blocked out the stars. It was beautiful, sleek, and lethal. Sit, Ronin ordered. He walked to the communications console. He flipped a series of heavy toggle switches. Click, click. The ancient transmitter warmed up. They will destroy you, Kaelen whispered, staring at his own ship. Admiral Tyrox is a legend. He has never lost a battle. As soon as he sees me, he will open fire to save face. Let's see, Ronin said. He punched the frequency. The main screen static cleared. Admiral Tyrox appeared. He was a terrifying sight. Dark gray skin, 4 yellow eyes, and a jaw set with mandibles that clicked when he spoke. He sat on a command throne that looked more expensive than Ronin's entire ship. Justicar Kaelen? The Admiral's voice boomed. We lost your signal. Sensors indicate contamination. Why are you on the bridge of that garbage scow? Ronin stepped into the frame. He wiped a smear of oil from his cheek. He's visiting, Ronin said. We're having coffee. The Admiral's 4 eyes narrowed. He looked at Ronin. The scarred armor, the gray stubble, the utter lack of fear. Who is this creature? Where are my vanguards? Your vanguards are broken, Ronin said flatly. I'm the janitor. I'm cleaning up the mess. Tyrox laughed. It was a harsh, grinding sound, a human, a primitive ape. You think you have defeated the Council? I have 12 turrets locked on your engine core. I can vaporize you before your heart beats again. I know, Ronin said. He reached into his pocket. The Admiral watched, expecting a weapon. A grenade, a detonator. Ronin pulled out a pack of cigarettes. He put one in his mouth, then lit it with a silver Zippo. Click, whoosh. He took a long drag, the smoke curling around his face in the bridge light. You guys always rely on the math, Ronin said, exhaling smoke. You calculate the odds. You calculate the firepower. You look at my ship and you see a 0. You look at your ship and you see 100. It is not math, Tyrox growled. It is reality. Surrender the girl and the Justicar or die. See, that's where you're wrong, Ronin said. He leaned closer to the camera. You forget where I come from. You forget what humans are. You are short-lived, fragile creatures, Tyrox sneered. We are persistence hunters, Ronin corrected. His voice dropped, becoming dangerous. Do you know what that means, Admiral? It means we don't have claws. We don't have venom, we don't have armor. He tapped the ash from his cigarette onto the console. We just don't stop, we walk. We follow, we endure. When the prey runs, we walk. When the prey sleeps, we walk. We just keep coming until you collapse. I am not prey, Tyrox shouted. I am an admiral of the High Fleet. Right now, Ronin said, you're just a guy parked in my driveway. Ronin reached under the console and pulled out a heavy bundle of wires connected to a large red handle. It looked like the emergency brake on a freight train. It was wired directly into the main reactor controls. You see this? Ronin asked. Kaelen gasped. The reactor purge! He has rigged the core. That's right, Ronin said. This is a dead man switch. It's connected to my biomonitor. If my heart stops, click. The magnetic containment field on my reactor fails. So you blow yourself up, Tyrox scoffed. A meaningless suicide. Not meaningless, Ronin smiled. It was a wolf smile, because my reactor isn't running on standard fuel. I'm running on dirty isotopes, illegal ones. If this core breaches, it doesn't just go boom. It creates a radiation flare that will fry every circuit, every sensor, and every life support system within 50,000 clicks. Ronin pointed at the viewport. At the divine right. It will turn your beautiful golden ship into a drifting coffin. You won't die instantly. You'll float there in the dark, freezing to death, knowing a primitive ape took you out. Silence on the bridge, absolute silence. Tyrox looked at his datapad. He looked at his sensor officer. The officer nodded nervously. The radiation spike from the mule was real. You're bluffing, Tyrox said, but his voice lacked conviction. No sentient being would do that. It is illogical. It is madness. It's not madness, Ronin said softly. It's spite. He put his hand on the red handle. You threaten my home, you threaten my passenger. You think I care about dying? Admiral, I've been living on borrowed time since I was 20. Today is a good day to settle the tab. Ronin's eyes locked with the aliens. And in that moment, the Admiral saw it. He saw the history of a species that would burn its own cities rather than let an invader take them. He saw a species that would fight a tank with a rock. He saw the absolute, terrifying willingness to destroy everything just to say no. It wasn't bravery. It was pure distilled stubbornness. Don't, Kaelen shrieked, lunging for the camera. Admiral, he will do it. He is insane. Humans are insane. Retreat. For the love of the stars, retreat. Admiral Tyrox hesitated. He looked at his magnificent ship. He looked at the dirty, tired human smoking a cigarette. The math had changed. The variable was spite. And the cost was too high. All ships, Tyrox said, his voice tight with rage. Disengage docking clamps, reverse thrusters. Move us to the perimeter. Further, Ronin said. Jump out of the system. You have made a powerful enemy today, human, Tyrox warned. Get in line, Ronin replied. Take a number. The screen went black. Outside the viewport, the massive divine right detached. Its engines flared blue and it slowly turned away. A moment later, space bent around it and it vanished into hyperspace. Gon Kaelen slumped in the chair, weeping with relief. You maniac, you saved us. But you almost killed us all. Ronin watched the stars for a moment. Then he reached down and ripped the wires of the dead man's switch out of the console. They weren't connected to the reactor. They were connected to the ship's toaster. Kaelen stared at the loose wires. It was not real? The radiation leak is real. Ronin shrugged, crushing his cigarette. I need to fix that gasket. But the bomb? No. I just wanted to see if he'd blink first. He grabbed Kaelen by the collar again. Come on, get in the escape pod. You're going home. You are letting me live? Kaelen asked, confused. Why? Ronin dragged him to the airlock. Because I need a messenger. I want you to go back to your council. I want you to tell them what you saw here. He shoved the high Justicar into the small escape pod. Tell them that the galaxy isn't safe for bullies anymore. Tell them there's an old man in a rust bucket ship who doesn't know how to do the math. Ronin hit the launch button. Whoosh! The pod shot away into the darkness. Seen the mess hall 1 hour later. The ship was quiet. The hunting vibration was gone. Ronin sat at the small table, cleaning his shotgun. Vesper placed a fresh mug of coffee in front of him. It was black, oily, and hot. She sat opposite him, pulling the blanket tighter around her shoulders. She looked at him, really looked at him for the first time. Not as a savior, but as something else, something older. They will come back, Vesper said softly. Eventually. Maybe, Ronin said, taking a sip. But not today. Why did you do it? She asked. You could have given me to them. You could have been rich. Ronin stopped cleaning the gun. He looked at his hands, scarred, rough, stained with oil. Kid, he said, I've seen a lot of things in this galaxy. I've seen empires rise and fall. I've seen stars explode. He looked up at her, and for the first time his eyes weren't cold. They were just tired. But the only things that matter are the things you can protect with your own 2 hands. Everything else is just noise. Vesper reached out and placed her slender blue hand over his. You are a strange warrior, Ronin. I'm not a warrior, Ronin grunted, standing up to head back to the cockpit. I'm just a guy who hates bullies. He paused at the door. Get some sleep, kid. I'll take the first watch. Nobody gets onto this ship without going through me. As the camera pulls back, The Iron Mule drifts silently through the starfield, a tiny speck of rust against the infinite black void. It looks insignificant, it looks weak. But now the galaxy knows better. Because inside that shell there is something harder than diamond and hotter than a star. A human who has decided to stand his ground.